Yeah, well, glad to be back in Detroit. About a year ago?
Yeah.
About a little over a year. A little over a year. A lot of things happened. Like I said, I had to get some cheap tickets, and I see why they cheap. Because they got it so now, they get the best price in town, but that's the one that's subject for delays. So, subject for delays and stuff, so, which is good. You met, for the people who went down to the conference and all, you met Deborah, my business partner, down at the conference and stuff. So she rolled up. We got a little thing we doing. We got people told me to bring up the tapes and all that. I was like, let her handle that. So we brought her up to Motown. And also, a lot of things is interesting because he said you got a lot of festivals going on, but the festivals been going on the whole summer, I heard. There's several festivals. And that's for a reason, too, because they're trying to stop something. And I had found that out a long time ago when they have all these festivals and stuff. They're trying to have some type of break. There's something that's major going on when they jam these festivals up like that back to back. You see, and even when you even get the free concerts and stuff. Same thing happened in 93. They had the big snow in 93, the blizzard all over the country. But right after that, they had a Parliament Funkadelic concert for free. Ohio plays, Parliament Funkadelic and stuff. You paid $50 for it. Now they had it free in Chastity Park and had 70,000 people come. And in some kind of way, it's to direct a certain energy a certain way to break a certain thing that's going on. It's very key at this particular time. And why Motown? Why Detroit? So I said, well, you had a festival going on. He said, well, they had them going on all the last couple of weeks or whatever. And that's very key because, especially here, we could know by just on the energy. I've never had a bad lecture up in here where, the energy is always powerful and stuff. So obviously it's got something to do with here and has something to do with the focus on the black people here. And Atlanta is pretty much white now. It's basically, the structure has changed in the last 9 years and it's pretty white, but it's interesting here that I knew when this West Nile virus thing came out in New York about 2 years ago, back in 99, they had the West Nile virus, why they call it that? You know what I'm saying? That I said, sooner or later this thing going to come to Atlanta. So they had a person that died yesterday with the West Nile virus. So that means that they're going to start dealing with putting out the whole melathion stuff, whatever this chemical is. But Brother Albert has sent me some information on how they're changing the structure of the bodies to keep people from illuminating. So that's very interesting. You see what I'm saying? So in actuality, they're trying to keep down this Kundalini spirit because at this particular time, more than any other time, this is very key based on the actual, the Sekka. So, and the Sekka is the kingdom of Osiris, which was also, a lot of detailed information was given on it in, what's the name of this book? The name of the book is The Message of the Sphinx by Graham Hancock. They came out with the Orion Mystery in 1994, and then they came out with The Message of the Sphinx by Graham Hancock in 1996. So although they put out the information, a lot of that stuff is talking about right here at the millennium. Now the key here is, the mystery here is, we do know that 2000 was not the millennium. We know that 2001 is the millennium, but even if you calculate even further, the millennium in Africa didn't start until not only the summer solstice, but the apex of New Year only started when Sirius rises. Now I've even done some research with the guy Carl Carini, wrote a book on Dionysus. Carl Carini's book, and in that book there's a section in that book on Sirius, Icaros, or Archaeos, which is another name for Sirius and Dionysus, and they said that the whole thing gets going during the summer months. So even the Greeks and the Romans did not jump nothing until Sirius rose. Even the Romans. And in this book, he has a whole chapter dedicated to Sirius and has something to do with the bees. That's the brother talking about. One of the brothers was talking about this, Brother Charlie at one time talking about the swarm, about these bees. And you even also, you get it, and I've heard this stuff about the bees, whereas one bee by itself is dumb and stupid. But once it gets together in a swarm, It has intelligence. And also not only has intelligence, if you look at the doggone honeycomb, it's the same as the whole matrix thing. It looks just like, not the matrix, it looks just like the melanin matrix or the melanin molecule. Also, the turtle shell. The turtle shell is a melanin molecule. And which is interesting because we went to Turtle Cove, Montauk Point, Long Island. That's where they had the time chair and all that stuff. And me, Delbert, and the sister Kimberly that you met at the conference, and her boyfriend, we went up to Turtle Cove back here in February. We're going to try to go about 2 weeks from now. And they got this big rock that looks like a turtle, but I was looking at this, and I said, well, why did you, and Deborah had named her company before she hooked up with me, Turtle Cove. And I said, why did you do that? She said, the Spirit told me when I read Pyramids of Montauk, which is a must-read and a must-have. Pyramids of Montauk, Peter Moon, Preston Nichols, and the Black Sun. But anyway, I looked at it, and the reason why I asked it and stuff, because it was always on the side of my tapes and stuff, it was this little turtle, but I looked and I said, damn, there's the melanin molecule. So, the bees had something to do with Dionysus, which is Osiris. You know, Dionysus, Shiva, all that's the same Osiris, or Osir. The key here is, you got the bee thing going, but it's interesting, why when your boy Clive Barker did Candyman, it was all about the bees. I don't know if it was the bees in the first one too. I know the bees was in the first, but I know the bees was heavy in the second one. You see, but the key here is the first one started out in the projects. Second one was in New Orleans with the whole voodoo thing. You see, and then he supposed they put the honey all on him, and the bees supposed they killed him or whatever. But it's interesting here that they would do that, but in Candyman's whole concept is always revenge. So you got that same Osirian pattern, revenge or vengeance, you know. And in so many, even in each series, the revenge was mostly on white people. You see what I'm saying? It was centered around white folks and stuff. But it was interesting that they would put the bees in there. So that's Carl Careen's book, Osiris, Dionysus. It's a critical study. He's kind of real technical because he's German. You know, and but it was interesting because what was happening was I was trying to really locate the time of Sirius rising. Now I've been dealing with Sirius for 10 years now. And in my lectures and all the details, and I hit July 23rd, but then I got other books where they talk about July 20th, July 21st, and in so many words, the discrepancy, and I think why they have a problem pinpointing or holding it down is because the discrepancy is not calculated based on dates, but sometime in the summer solstice. So one of the keys here is when Sirius rises. I believe that the Egyptians understood it because I don't think that they knew the actual, they could calculate the actual time, but it didn't fall on the same time every year. You see what I'm saying? So it's interesting because we even got something like August 5th by Graham Hancock, not Graham Hancock, the other guy, Robert Bouval. So anyway, we know that July 23rd, July 20th, and all of that type of aspect is the actual new year based on the Africa. So in actuality, we just not starting into the doggone millennium. And that's when you get your boy, Bush comes out and talk about this whole stem cell thing. They've been talking about it for months, and now he's talking about the stem cell research. Then they came out a couple of days after the stem cell and said, well, we found out because the whole key they didn't want to, they was arguing about human cloning. First of all, they've been cloning since 1945, but now they're trying to make it official. So the key here with the human cloning was they say, well, we don't know if the human cloning is going to be safe. But then they came out on the news Monday and said that we found out that human cloning is safer in humans than it is for animals. Because there's more birth defects in animals. I'm saying all these retarded ass people I see down here. You out of your doggone mind? Shit. It ain't no 1 out of 5, man. It might be 4 out of 5. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. So they talking about birth defects. We just count just the damn issues niggas got. You know what I'm saying? But the key here is now they're saying that, you know, all of a sudden they're saying that there's virtually no, in human cloning, there's virtually no signs of birth defects as it is in animals. You see. Now, about a month ago at the University of Georgia, they came out with 8 cloned cows. And so then they said, well, what do they need the cows, the cows for? They said, well, we need the cows because they said, what are you going to do with those? They said they're going to be the prototypes for other cows. And this is, first of all, they're just introducing all this stuff. They've been doing this stuff for years. And they said, well, what do we need it for? They said, we need these cows to produce meat. Well, common sense going to tell you that every 5 minutes is a chicken place on every corner in America. You know that all meat, there's probably no such thing as real meat anymore. So they're just coming out with this particular thing, you see. So you got your whole stem cell thing going down. You know, so what is it? But it's interesting around the time that they started announcing the major stuff, because they're saying by the end of the year they got some group over in Europe that's going to do the whole, the human cloning thing. You see, but this stem cell thing got a lot to do with it. You see, it's got a lot to do with it because they've been dealing with this shit for years. You know, it's not just some aspect that they just started this thing. You know, but for some reason they're trying to make all this particular thing official. You see, right at this particular point right now. But one of the keys here is this, at this particular point is where a lot of stuff is getting going at this particular point right here. At this particular juncture from, let's say, July 23rd on in. So if these festivals started at the same time, and especially here in Detroit, because they probably hadn't neutralized Detroit. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, you get the movie Fantastic World, I think the name of it is. Anybody saw that? It's called
a cartoon?
It's a cartoon.
With the blue people and
yeah, blue people.
Fantasy.
No, not Final Fantasy. Fantastic World. I think that's the name of it. It came out like in 73 or 72. In that movie, they talk about the Ohms, which was humans, which is supposed to be Ohms. You know, Ohm is an African word, East Indian word. And they talked about the Ohm, but they talked about two kind of Ohms. They talked about the domestic Ohms and the savage Ohms. Now, domestic, and so this is basically the same house nigga, field nigga mentality. You see. So they talk about the domestic Ohms and the savage Ohms. And they got these people ruling all over them and pulling the strings. And these savage Ohms and the domestic Ohms, they keep them away from the savage Ohms. You see, so this movie here is probably one of the prototypes of the spook is set by the door. You see. But anyway, maybe Detroit has a little more domestic Ohms. No, savage Ohms. Which means that, you know, maybe Atlanta, they got only domestic Ohms left. You see what I'm saying? Which means maybe you are a little more grassroots. You see what I'm saying? Grassroots. Whereas they done killed off the savage Ohms in Atlanta. You see, so maybe the reason why you're having all these festivals, we haven't had anything. You know, hell, concerts is doggone near $100. You know, so we haven't had any of these festivals, and we used to have them all. And I remember in the 90s, I used to work the Miller Bill's still around. I used to work one right there in the projects where they used to have all these groups come. And for some reason, in the last 3, 4, 5 years, they haven't had any free concerts. You see what I'm saying? They had one, the P-Funk All-Stars, but without George Clinton. So I'm saying, okay, now y'all got this domestic model going on right here. You see, but anyway, the key here is that they're still doing these particular festivals because, see, in Indianapolis, they had the big Black Expo. And they said that's where it started. They got it going on different places, I think, in Cleveland and all that. But Atlanta, the Black Expo has been here since, I think, the middle of the 90s. That means because they done domesticated, you see, they Ohms or they Negroes or whatever, and they done killed off the so-called, quote-unquote, savage Ohms. You see. So maybe they got still a little bit of domestic Ohms running around here, and they got to pacify, you see, the people, which is very key because speaking of that whole killing off thing, you know, they killed off so many people. Now here it is. Now you got a conservative people, and mainly the conservative government tells the people what they say. The first thing they do is say we got to stop all these illegal immigrants, or these illegal aliens. Excuse me. These illegal aliens. But isn't it funny that the same conservative people that talk all that junk about they taking money from America and we got to change the value, we got to get back to the old America, is the ones that saying that they're going to give these doggone so-called quote-unquote illegal aliens a voucher or some type of voucher or some type of permit to work. Now wait a minute, here's the man I see here is they kick your butt from night and day breaking the law. It's already down to your automobiles and your doggone seatbelts or whatever type thing they can catch you with. And you can break the law and you go under the jailhouse. And here's a man that's an illegal quote-unquote alien breaking the quote-unquote law. And he gets a permit for breaking the law. You see, it's not like, America just open the borders and let these people in and then say, okay, we're going to give you a permit. These people, they find these people, they're already delinquent in America's eyes. But they're giving them a permit, the conservative government. Why is that? That is because they done killed off all the doggone domestic, the savage owns, or what they call the so-called workforce owns, and they got to give these people a voucher or America will fall, because that's letting you know how many doggone grassroots people, the people that used to do all the work before those menial jobs, they done killed them off. Now, ain't this something this is the psychological aspect of it, not stupid. They just got rid of welfare. That means they need people that come on now, he can't train that many Negroes. Come on, man, it costs money to train somebody. Now, let's get off this bullshit now. You know what I'm saying now? All of a sudden, they done got rid of welfare. Okay? They got rid of welfare. But on the other hand, ain't no black people around to work no jobs. Where are all these welfare people going? But they got to give a doggone voucher to the doggone Mexicans. You see? That's because they done killed off all of them. And this is more and more evidence that the people are gone. You see what I'm saying? Like in Atlanta, no more projects, about 2 or 3. But I'm just saying, and this is going back. Why do they got to give a permit to Mexicans? And not only that, it's not like the government is giving a permit to Mexicans on the East Coast. Most of those people have been established in the West Coast. Most of those people have been established for years. They call them damn Chicanos or whatever. They're saying that they got to give a permit for Mexicans if that's all working. Now, there's another thing going on, because we used to buy this bull. We see the Koreans move in the community and hire only their people, and we used to think, oh, well, it's a family business. They only hire their people. Now, who's cooking them goddamn chicken wings? The Mexicans. You see this thing around the country? Mm-hmm. You go to the damn Charlie Chan, and it be the Mexican in the back cooking Chinese food. But yet they didn't hire the niggas when they was taking the money out of your community, and we bought that bullshit about, oh, it's a family, it's a family business. But now the Mexicans is up in here, and who the Asians is hiring is full of Mexicans cooking Chinese food. You see, but we let them go without firebombing their ass for years, think, oh, it's a family thing. So we talking about this major takeover that's going on in here. Bush, Mr. Conservative, is actually giving the permit for these people to work. This is a contradiction. You say that we trying to curb the law, and they had this whole law enforcement to stop criminals in America, quote unquote. And here's some people that literally, when you find them, they quote unquote criminals under the eyes of America. We know it's their country. We know all kinds of things like this. But the point I'm trying to make here is, based on the law, they're supposed to doggone deport these people. You see. But they're giving them a voucher, a conservative government. That lets you know if they don't give them the voucher, this country will fall. Because they done kill off that many people. Which goes to the crux of why we're here this weekend, to really get into some stuff. And thank God, for the first time in 9 years, I made clear contact with some stuff. Clear contact, and they're working every doggone day. So this is so thank God, even I was like saying, man, is this shit real? But made clear contact. You see what I'm saying? So we got a lot of stuff we'll deal with at this particular time. So this is very key at this particular time. But a lot of this stuff we're talking about now is in Graham Hancock's book. The point where we're talking about locating this thing. In Graham Hancock and Robert Huball's book, Message of the Sphinx, in the chapter called, what's the name of that book? It's called The Message of the Sphinx. In a chapter called The Journey of the Horus King, which started around probably March, April, May, in that particular thing, on into this particular apex of the zenith part of this particular summer solstice. You see. Now, it was interesting because when I asked the question with these entities that was on, that I get in contact with, we'll go through the whole story on that. What the hell is the damn hold up? what the hell is the hold up and stuff? All I gotta do is get a phone cut off for a couple of days, or so, you know, and the gas cut off. Now I want to know what the damn hold up is. And they were saying, well, the energy is that the matrix, or what we call the powers that be that run this particular matrix or whatever. Then this is interesting what they said before I even heard about this, because I'm in contact. The sister that you saw at the conference and stuff is doing the channel from a whole other outside source. So there's different types of psychic ability. One psychic ability is you get what boyfriend can do this, and what a person's destiny is. Then you can get something that's coming from outside of the known universe. But it's interesting, those type of people can't get nothing on the mundane level. You see, so it's different levels of psychic ability. And when I say, so what's the hold up? She said, well, they say they got a lot of problems because they got the matrix, they got a lot of rituals that's holding this thing together. And I'm saying, what ritual? They saying a lot of festivals. I said, damn. And then I hear about all these festivals they got right here in Detroit. And then I go and get a movie. I can't think of the name of this movie. It's a movie in England, white England, and they got a doggone festival in England that the Jamaican and the West Indians have. They call it festival or carnival in what's the name of that thing? Notting Hill. Notting Hill is a section in England, and they got these festivals that's going on. It is all black festivals in all white damn England. You see what I'm saying? We figure if you got a festival, it's got to have something with the history of the culture of the people. But I mean, how many black people are over there? I mean, they got a little group and all, but I'm talking about this major festival that white people and all join into. You see what I'm saying? Right there in England, and they got that carnival thing that they also have in South America. You see, what's that?
They turn in our own energy, neutralize it with our own people, using our own people to neutralize our energy.
Well, see, it also, it has something to do with it. You got active participation in, if you have active participation in something that is designed to entrap someone, it keeps that trap viable or vibrant.
The net, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So they have a festival, they got a major festival right there in Notting Hill, England, and it's all black. You see, and there was some movie out, I can't think of the name, something today, something yesterday's, I'll think of it before the time is out or whatever. And they got this whole festival, and the guy in the movie says, no, we can't have festival like the Mardi Gras. Here's another festival. You see, Fat Tuesday, that happens to be in the city of the whole voodoo thing. Or we can't have festivals like the Mardi Gras at a certain cool time of the year. And even the festival, I think down in South America, is not in the summer. I think it's in the I think the Mardi Gras is flashing off of that one. I think they have Fat Tuesday down there also.
Yep.
And it's around the same time when, February?
Right.
He said, in the movie, he said, no, we can't have a festival like everybody else around the country. No, our festival got to be right smack dab in the middle of the hottest time of the year during the summer solstice. Right in the summer. This is what the cat said on the actual movie. You see, so you get this stuff going around the country, but naturally you got to have a black festival because we know that England is the seat of the doggone empire. You see, so it's the seat of the empire. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm seeing this whole thing. So when the Spirit came and said there's a lot of festivals holding up some stuff. You see what I'm saying? Which is interesting here because the fall is what they call the Great Harvest. In the book, Emil Bach's book, The Apocalypse of St. John, one of the best books ever written on the Book of Revelations, comes out of England. It's about this thick. Comes out of England. It's like $24. But he's fused in a lot of what's my man's work on? Rudolf Steiner's work. And it's called Emil Bach, Apocalypse of St. John. But in there he goes into the fall months is where you have your horn of plenty, you have your great harvest. You have your great harvest. So the fall months are the harvest, and they say, well, what you have is you got all this energy, all this stuff that's in the summer months. That's when you grow all the crops or whatever, the same thing. It's just like farming. That's just another plane. That's a physical plane. Well, just as you got things that grow in the summertime on this plane, you got things that grow on another plane. So they say you have all this stuff that goes down, in the summer months. Well, if you got the crops and all that, you got all kind of stuff that's happening in the summer months also too here, even when it comes to us. You see what I'm saying? Even when it comes to us. One of the keys and all, well, I'll explain that in a few minutes because, well, I'm going ahead of myself. But you have all this stuff that goes out in the summer solstice. In the fall of the year is when the stuff is supposed to be harvest. So you have another type of festival, but you also have that All Saints Day, Hallows Eve, and all that type of stuff. So we talking about some real funky times, and then also you got the fall equinox. You see, the fall equinox. But right now they got all of this going on. You see, and what's the big distraction? Because you know they always got some distraction going on. But this is interesting. Now, first of all, my brother, who's very psychic. The one, he's a year younger than I am, and he made a point. Now, come on now. He said, now you know that any time a force of nature always hit, 90% of the time, it fucks white people up. That's the same thing in Atlanta. You have one little rain over an hour, and white people flood it out. But it never hit the ghetto. Never hit the ghetto. And he said, but if you notice now, all of a sudden, forces of nature starting to mess Negroes up.
We're in the wrong place.
You see, well, not only that, no, see, we so messed up now. I think we have fused our mind with this European because there ain't no damn near no different. I mean, so this whole conscious phenomenon that we got into within the last 10-something years was to actually secure and harness a few people outside of the bullshit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They call that the remnant. Because he said, if you notice, he said, now if you notice, man, Negroes is getting messed up by just forces of nature. Mm-hmm. Now here it is, you got a black man go get bit by a damn shark. Hell, they have the same damn family almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's supposed to have an energy field that the shark is supposed to recognize. Now we know this and stuff because all you got to do, one brother was in the subway system down in New York. And we saw the little rats running all around. He said, you know them rats running? He said, you know, they'll never get near that third rail. You never see none of them rats get into that third. You will walk out that third rail. They don't get with that third. You know, the third rail is where all the juices you get shot. He said because they can understand the force field. They notice the force field. Well, we know doggone these animals know force fields. They know when there's a certain amount of energy. That's an energy that is synonymous with nature. You understand what I'm saying? All of a sudden, this damn shark's biting the doggone nigga leg off. You see what I'm saying?
Get in the way.
You see, now all of a sudden on my block, trees is falling. But it's interesting because this tree, because the sister Kendall called, she said, wake up about 6, this is about a month, about 3 weeks ago, said, wake up about 6 o'clock and just be aware. I'm thinking some metaphysical shit. You know, so obviously I didn't wake up. She told me to wake up about 4 in the morning. I said, cool. Obviously I didn't wake up, so about 6 o'clock I woke up with a blue light flashing outside, and there's a tree that was right in the middle of my house like this, standing straight up. And for some reason, what happened, the tree turned this way and fell into the other people's front porch. Now I said, now you know that ain't nothing but some spirits that did some shit like that. But I'm saying, but these trees was uprooting all down the block. So we talk about natural phenomenon that's catching Negroes. But then again, let's look at this shark thing, because the sharks, they come with all this bull. Now you know they bit the little white boy arm off. Now I want to know how that motherfucker get his damn arm. How that white man get that arm out that shark's mouth? And how did he catch that shark? I mean, he already bit the arm off, so clearly the shark is free. It's not like the damn little boy is attached to it. But anyway, then you got another white boy that got his leg bit, and then and did you see this thing, 2-3 days ago? The Sharks had a damn convention. You saw this thing?
Yes.
This is amazing. Now they already trying to explain this shit away. They had 100 Sharks that had a convention. On one news they called it a convention. It was because these Sharks was actually meeting.
They said it was in the thousands when I saw it on
Okay,
the
see that? See,
showed a picture.
you know, and I should have known. See, that's one of the first rules. Whenever they give you something, you always got to magnify that. You got to magnify that tenfold. You see. But here it is, they got the sharks. 1,000 sharks now. Now, wait a minute. The sharks is on the beach. They're right up where the people are. That's unheard of. Sharks get one shark to come up there. You damn sure ain't gonna get a damn near 1,000. Now it's going to 1,000, and they showed it. They was just meeting in the water. It looked like more than 100.
It did. The water was just white where they were.
Yeah, and they were just meeting.
White.
And some people said they was having a convention. That's what the news said. They said they was having a convention. You see what I'm saying? And they had one guy was skiing. He had a little water ski, and he was skiing right on top of it. And after they got through, they said, you know, the sharks was right up under your little sport. And he said, we never knew. But the key here is, so I immediately called Ken. I said, what the hell going on? I said, now, that's some metaphysical stuff. What's going on here? I said, what's going on here? She said, they fighting against the matrix. Plain and simple. So they say, well, she said, they're fighting against the demiurge. That's the same thing as still the matrix. She said, they're fighting against the demiurge. They're fighting against the matrix. It was, and so it was a meeting. And so in so many words, they're fighting. Even the animals is rebelling against this thing here. Now Negroes is in the path, and they're getting messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Dog bites and stuff. What's that?
But do you think that has anything to do with electromagnetic energy?
Well, see, all of that's a part of it.
That maybe these technological things like heart.
Well, this is interesting too. See, it's several things. Number one, the first thing they said when they tried to explain it away, they said, well, they had a lot of salmon that came up there. Well, wait a minute, hold on. Well, how you explaining how the goddamn salmon come up to where people are? Because they said that the salmon don't even come up to where people are. Now, wait a minute. Now, hold on. You saying now there's a lot of salmon. Now, you got to explain, because that means if it was 1,000 sharks, it's got to be damn near 1,000,000 salmon. That's right. Now, how did they get all up there where people are? You see what I'm saying? So the key here is we're still talking about the Dogon and the white boy. Also, they connected no more, but they connected it with the dolphin. You understand what I'm saying? They connected it with the dolphin. But could very well be the shark also. Now, even in the Sirius mystery, you get a point where they talk about the Hemmitt. It's in the rising of the serpent tooth. And they talk about the sucker boat. But when they study it, they talk about the god Sebek, crocodile. But then again, on the other hand, it just depends on what area you are in Africa or what area something is. You see what I'm saying? You get another zoo type that explains this thing. You see what I'm saying? That explains this thing. And this crocodile's got all this type of stuff. So I'm saying it goes right in tune with this second period that Graham Hancock and them is talking in their book we'll get into. This second period. But also, now we got this whole shark thing that's up. And they're saying this thing is baffling so-called quote-unquote experts. You see what I'm saying? Baffling experts and all. But I knew, well, naturally, we always mess with white people because they're always in the wrong place. When they put that brother leg off, I said something is real big going on here. So, yeah, the heart thing might be a part of it and all, but based on the channel, they were saying that this thing here is definitely a reaction from some aspect of fighting against the matrix also. So I know that we are right in the middle of this particular point that we're in right now, and then all of a sudden they're going to break out with this whole stem cell thing. You see, this whole stem cell thing. Then, now Bush won his campaign saying that they're going to put all this money in the military. Then he said that he's getting ready to cut the biggest budget cuts in the world that they've ever had to the military. So he won his campaign on a lie.
Significance of that stem cell.
What?
What's the significance?
Well, it's supposed to be. They're saying it's. Well, it's interesting. They're saying it's supposed to be for spinal research is the greatest thing. But here goes again. The spine is connected with the Kundalini. Now, in your boy's book, Richard Bieran's book, the Lost Scrolls of King Solomon. In there, they talk about Lost Scrolls of King Solomon. There's a section in there where he talk about that Israel and the rabbi priests, their main concern on the planet Earth is to keep the feminine energy down or the Shakti power. This is very key because there's one thing that's happening here. Sister Deborah received the tape recently from a sister that makes movies down in Atlanta, and somehow she got a hold to a tape where they got these white people going around the world or the country or wherever, and they trying to keep down the feminine energy. Now, you saying, well, what is this? The key here is the movie you needed to go see was Final Fantasy. Now, I don't know if it's still in the theaters down here, but you all got the bootleg thing going, so.
It's at the dollar show.
It's at the dollar show. Did you see it yet?
Yeah.
Okay. The Final Fantasy is that they had these entities that on the earth they didn't have human life anymore. They had to be up underground. They had to be secluded. And they would go out, but they had these phantoms, and these supposed to be these ghosts of people supposed to be from other planets. And these ghosts didn't know that they were dead, but yet they had already taken over the earth. Well, see, to me, the ghosts seem like spirits. You see what I'm saying? And that little part about didn't know they dead, that's probably just by black people don't know the hell they dead. But anyway, it can go several ways. It can go several ways. It's like that movie, Baby Boy. Now wait a minute, am I stupid? Who the hell was called Baby Boy? Was it Tyree?
Yes.
Now wait a minute, let's look at the science on this. We go back to the Final Fantasy. Here's the movie put out in 2001. Now I thought that the movie was called, I saw the movie in 1991 called Boys in the Hood. You understand what I'm saying? I don't give a damn whatever they see. My point is you make your introduction into whatever you're making, but the point I'm trying to make here is there's no way you can get from Boys in the Hood to doggone Rosewood and then back to Baby Boy. That shit just don't pan out. You see, you have a level of sophistication you go into. He talking about Rosewood, these movies don't get made. And then you're going to make a movie called Baby Boy. But what is Baby Boy? Tyreek is named Baby Boy. So what is that saying? That's in 2001. They're telling the world, because these movies are made for France, Germany, because they make these movies sell 3 times as much. They make 3 times as much money overseas. Asia, Japan. And as a result, they look around at 2001, so we supposed to have extraterrestrial Negroes on 2001. But yeah, no, they motherfuckers are still boys in the hood. Same old bullshit. Didn't they not need to ride on a bicycle?
Yeah.
This nigga riding on a damn bicycle, little huffy, little huffy. It ain't even no kids. It ain't even no Tour de France shit. No 10 speed. This nigga riding on a little old teeny boy shit. What's that? Sucking his thumb. Now remember, somebody came up and said that Spike Lee did Malcolm X, but they said he had to push in all his markers to get that done. It's almost like we're gonna give you this. You see what I'm saying? But don't come no more. We're going to give you this. We already know niggas going to forget in about 2 years, about a month. So we'll give you this. We'll go through the little thing we know you want to get down for that. But don't come no more with the bullshit after this. And then it took him years until he does the bamboozle, which was very key now. Bamboozle said, I'll make a minstrel show. And he said, not only will whites like it, Negroes will like it. And remember, the whites was really scared. They didn't want to really get into it. But the Negroes loved the minstrel show, saying that we'll do anything if we pump that shit long enough. You see what I'm saying? But here it is. This motherfucker riding on a bicycle. Baby Boy, a grown man. Now this is going to Japan. So they're going, what are the Negroes doing now? Well, they're now babies, children, Baby Boy. You see? Now look, I said, this is not characteristic of a person that starts out on one level. And he go, well, I got to graduate from that. And see, you go back to the movie Bamboozle. That's what, even though my man, they say he was crazy or whatever, Damon Wayans wanted to do a little more sophisticated stuff. You know, and they was like, no, we want the ignorant shit. You see what I'm saying? Then they had a faction that wanted to do the black thing. That was like, and the black thing, like the whole, what used to be the Public Enemy and the KRS-One. And what Jada Pinkett turned around and said, you all are a joke. As if to say that Negroes are so degenerated now until they look at the black thing as a joke. That's like your fucking family members. Oh, you still into that black shit. You know. You still in that black stuff. You know, and all, you still in that black stuff? I thought you outgrew that. You know what I'm saying? But the key here is, so he didn't want to do that. They said, well, I'll give you a minstrel show. Well, here it is. This guy here did Rosewood, but as a result, they said, no, we're going to give you Rosewood in 1997 because we need you for 2001. the millennium to announce that black people are the baby boy. You see what I'm saying? Riding a little bicycle, like I said, laying on the now come on, now black people are not that damn observant. They ain't gonna put that many clues in a movie. Huh?
Rosewood.
Yes, they ain't got. Yeah, he did Boys in the Hood.
Well,
So
he did
And higher learning.
And higher learning. He did higher learning.
Yeah.
He did that now, and they probably still saying, you know, we're gonna kick you in the ass because you walked around and directed that Michael Jackson video where all y'all niggas was pharaohs.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson caught the whole pedophile thing after that. They knew that nigga was Michael Jackson screwing them little boys before he went with Thriller.
He prefaced that movie with Francis West Wellesley's work.
Yeah.
Which one of them?
Yeah.
The Vice's Papers.
Baby boy.
Baby boy, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Now this is interesting because see, they even making mockery of that.
Verse.
Now let me show you the science on this. Now we can all kick it around because that's how the energy flows. Now, there's a book called Black Spark, White Fire. You ever heard of that book? It's a white boy, an Italian boy wrote a book on the Afrocentric movement. And he dropped, and he was laughing at white people. He said that the Afrocentric movement started in the late 80s, and he said by 1993, they said they had the students in the class beating the teachers down, and the teachers could not hold up anymore with the lie.
Right.
It's in the book. So, we know that they had to wait till the Afrocentric thing dies down. And dies down, because first of all, the Afrocentric movement was supposed to do like the charter said, and supposed to do like the charter of ASCAC said. The charter of ASCAC was supposed to be that we're supposed to bring this thing to a certain level, and then we were supposed to turn it over to a younger group of people who were supposed to take it forward. You understand what I'm saying? But no, they want to still, but all of a sudden in 1990 come, what kind of thing you get a permanent president? That's a dictatorship.
That's right.
That ain't no democracy there. Well, that's a dictator. You get a permanent president, and all of a sudden, brother, we can't get into nothing spiritual. Come on now. Same old bullshit. We the pharaohs and all that old crap. But been there, done that. Got the damn t-shirt. Wore the t-shirt, now the t-shirt is fad and out of style. But nobody don't want to get this. And the thing about it, I said, no, wait a minute. It ain't just New York. It ain't just Detroit. Black people are not that monolithic. I'm getting reports from San Antonio, ASCAC. Dude, we can't touch that. Getting, places where Negroes is rarely, San Antonio, in Dallas, ASCAC, oh no, we can't go there. South Carolina, oh, we can't go there. This thing is going all over the place where they can't go further than telling people that we were the damn pharaohs. And we drove some damn rock somewhere to build some damn pyramids or whatever.
They can't do it?
They can't go beyond that now. Here goes it's a contradiction. The mystery system. Well, we have produced evidence. I put just as much scholarship down with this metaphysics as a John Henry Clark or anybody else. So there ain't no excuse. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you contradict you because Ranuka Rashidi has already proven that your Indian from India was black. They come from where? Ethiopia. So you mean to tell me you don't want to touch the people from India stuff? You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same monolithic box. But here it is, you go all around. We're still on this thing. Whereas you go all around and the whole ASCAC thing, they don't want to go any further. You see, meanwhile, they done got them niggas shut up. They ain't did nothing since 1990. You see, all the charter members done booked up down there. Ain't did nothing since 1990. Okay, you see, and hell, they say, hey, one of the charter members, what? He was inducted into the Boule in what, 1995?
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Now, this is interesting. This bullshit. You know me now. I ain't gonna hold back now. Hell. Shoot. I ain't gonna bite my tongue.
Is this the reason why Dr. Ben disassociated himself with
Yeah, all of that, you see. Dr. Ben was good for that. Dr. Ben was good for getting in movements. And when it became elite, he'd just leave their ass.
Hey.
He'd leave when they get elite, he would leave them. And then they just didn't know where the hell to go. Now, so in 1992, I started speaking in June of 1992, 9 years ago. well, actually, I started speaking during the LA riots. That's when I first started speaking. About 2 months after, I did my first lecture. In the fall of the year, I need to get into that right now in a few minutes also, too. Not necessarily anything against Khaled, but I'm going to tell you how we got to start protecting some people, because some bogus shit went down in Georgia with that shit with Khaled. And if the right thing happened, he could have been saved. Now, we'll get into that in a few minutes. Now, we did a thing, me, Khaled, Steve Coakley, and a lot of other people that was up and coming, up and coming. We did a conference called Revolution 101. Just so happened, ASCAC did one the same year. The same time we did Revolution 101 in 1992, ASCAC did a conference in Atlanta in 1992 during the same time. We did another one, the Masters Conference in 2000. ASCAC did another one during the same time in Atlanta. Hadn't been back to Atlanta since 92. You should have said, call it coincidence, whatever, but this is what happened. And at first, a lot of people didn't believe Steve Coakley. Colin, he came in and did Revolution 101, one of the best one he did, where he talked about how you reinforce the inner cities by taking all the cars and piling them all up, and setting them on fire and stuff, and barricading yourself in. You get that tape, Revolution 101, Khalid Muhammad, 1992. Deborah, you got that one? You have that one? Yeah. You might, because Cultural had it and all, so we got access to it. But anyway, Coakley came back that night because after Khalid was supposed to speak, Coakley was the keynote speaker the first night, Khalid was the keynote speaker the second night. But Coakley said he was going to do a midnight thing after Khalid. After Khalid. So Coakley came in and said, Lord, man. He said, I just got back from the Barclay Hotel. Now the group Yahweh Ben Yahweh in Atlanta had a hotel called the Barclay. And that's where all the black people stayed. It was a black hotel in the middle of downtown. He said, and so both ASCAC was staying there and they put up the people from the Revolution 101. You see what I'm saying? They were staying there, the one that we was a part of. He said, man, I just got back from the Barclay Hotel. And he said that ASCAC bum rushed my room and told me that I got to lay off the boule. He said, why? He said, because the boule is the ones buying all the books. The boule is the ones buying all the doggone books. You see? And now all of a sudden then, people say, okay, well, whatever, maybe Coakley's making all this shit up. Because we don't never want to believe nothing. But then, 2 or 3 years later, Asa Hilliard becomes what? To try to remember, he conducted it to the boule in the summer of 94.
In 94?
Yeah.
You mean his level of consciousness was on boule in 1994?
Yeah.
And he's still running around here representing the...
But then again, on the other hand, remember now, you can talk about the history. See, the history don't mean nothing when the crackers is around, and like I used to say, the crackers around and they in the little boy meeting sipping some champagne, and they talk about France and Germany and England and all that shit, or you can talk about the little Pharaoh shit now. See what I'm saying? See, it's a class thing. That's why there was a whole bunch of doggone upward mobile that gravitate to it, and the Spirit told me, can't nothing good come to this. Can't nothing good come to this. Can't nothing good come to these W.E.B. Du Bois, NAACP, damn hatchet head niggas. So they can fit the little Egyptian thing in there because they need a base to authenticate their bourgeoisie-ness. You see what I'm saying? Or what we call domestic homes. Because bourgeoisie, you got to be a landowner. You see that? So there ain't no black bourgeoisie. Because the term for black bourgeoisie is you either got to be a landowner or you got to be a business owner. You understand what I'm saying? So workers can't be bourgeoisie. They are petty bourgeois. You see? So they are petty bourgeois. But you got to be a landowner to be a real true bourgeoisie. You see what I'm saying? So these are petty bourgeois. You know what I'm saying? That's like the yuppie and the damn bucky. So, anyway. So they want to authenticate their petty bourgeoisness. They give a less than a damn about some liberation or whatever type thing. You see. So now we are seeing Now we are seeing the flip side of this thing. Because everywhere we go now, nobody from ASCAP can touch anything that's dealing with the spiritual. Now, I don't care how much you make the case, they got a damn dictatorship president. You know, what kind of black people? You get a big motherfucker up in here for damn 10 years. What is she doing that well? She's still the president. What her name is? What's the president name?
Queen.
Nzinga or whatever?
Yeah.
She's still the president. You understand what I'm saying? You see, so the point I'm trying to make is everywhere we go, you can't get, and it's just, and I'm not, this is not me speaking, this is other people just coming out, you know, they say, we want to get into some other, brother, we can't touch that. See what I'm saying? Because they were taken over by a government faction in 1990. And that because that's when What's name came, because he was saying, man, you got ask that going, and we was gonna try to bridge the two together with the two Congresses. And then Cobra came back and said, He said, they was in the room and they stepped up and said, you can't do this, man, because the Boule is buying all our books. Boule is buying all our doggone books. Now, and it's not still on point here. So they quiet down, and the man book Black Spark White Fire said that the students was into this thing so much they had the conscious rap going, they had all this stuff going, and they was into it so much the conscious rap was leading them to go and study. So they were studying stolen legacy, and all the other good little things. And they was providing all this. Now, when they was providing all this particular information. Now, so they said, well, just let this thing cool down. So then, you know, they brought in the black preacher, talking about woman ought thou loose, because they had to stop that feminine energy. He said, big key. We right on some stuff right now. You know, so they brought they said, we got to upgrade the preacher. Because before, religion meant that you're supposed to be poor. You know, you see the holy sanctified people and all running around and all, you know, in little buckboards or whatever little shit, the El Caminos or whatever and shit. Whatever. So, then they showed that based on this prosperity thing that the preachers with the damn 400 button suits on and stuff, looking like NBA players. So they got all of the and you know, I had one of the NBA one of the white coaches from the NBA, and said, you know, amongst us, you know what the NBA means? No brains allowed. Ain't that a bitch? No brains allowed. Now this is the joke on the coaches. You see, now, so they had to get, so they did a whole lot of factions in the 1990s to stop this whole Afro thing or make it die to a certain level. Now this is one of the good keys right here. This is a smooth ass move. So, to make sure that they can turn a future amount of petty bourgeois that was into the church or whatever, they still started saying, man, you know, this church shit ain't doing it. But then they start looking to Kemetic. They say, but they got a little block up and they sure what they did. They put a smooth stroke. This government is always thinking. So, they go get Dr. York, or Malachi Z. York. Now here's a man, he was a Islamic Hebrew, Nubic, Islam, he was all this thing, he got 400 kids, Jim Jones style on your ass. They go get him. The next thing you know, he take all these people off the street. He even had a big argument with Dr. Ben in 1990. And in his book, Leviathan, he said that the Ankh and all that stuff was a sign of the devil. In his book, Dr. York, the same Leviathan books.
Dr. York and
yeah, Dr. York. See, y'all get all teary-eyed because motherfucker built some hillbills out of some boys. Go to damn Las Vegas. Go to Las Vegas. I reckon that pyramid up there. You go downtown. He been building pyramids since your ass been in this country. Big deal. See what I'm saying? So we get all teary-eyed and stuff because we see some big old strong. Because that's how we are. We children. We like amusement parks. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You get all teary-eyed because the nigga go, it's a good concept. Okay, it's a good concept. But we got to know the history behind people. He wasn't a bit more interested in Egypt. He had a whole series of tape attacking Dr. Ben in 1990 on Kemetic being bullshit. Because he was Islamic Hebrew. You gotta know the study on this shit. I'll tell you get the 1990 Leviathan books and all them there. Egypt is a sign of the devil. The Ankh is a sign of the devil. Okay? Then he take all these people off the street. And they come back in. They come back out. It was in 1994. They were selling all this. They were selling all this new bit. They had a new writing and stuff. Had a little symbol with a little bicycle on it. You know, a little bicycle on some. That's new bit, new writing, a little bicycle symbol and shit. You know. So they had all of this going on. He turned around, and they took all the people off the street by 1995. 1997, he come back out. He all Kemetic. So I said, wait, something wrong with this. I said, okay, cool. Maybe he just catching on. You know, he just want to, you know, he don't want the conscious community to get too far from him. Okay, the next thing I know, they got the big color picture that I think I showed it up here of him in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Now, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, one of the most racist papers on the planet. This is the paper that destroyed Wayne Williams to this day, where everybody know that Wayne Williams is free and didn't do this stuff, and really, they only caught him with, if they only linked two wrong people to him. You understand what I'm saying? But yet, it was the paper, is one of the papers that's instrumental in the whole Wayne Williams thing. This is the same paper of the South that was the anti-segregationist thing that killed half the niggas with the Klan. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution. All of a sudden, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution got him up in there with some arms and shit. Same similar to the devil, he think. And he's standing there and all, they got all the little bird head and hawk heads and, you know, the head roost stuff and all. They got the little fez, you know, those little tourist fez, the little small little ones and shit. And stuff compared to the regular ones at the Moors, where those are little tourist fairs and stuff they give the little children when they go to Spain and shit. So they got the little tourist fairs on and stuff. All of a sudden, he Osiris. You see. I said, wait, this is a big old color picture. Took up half the damn people, damn ink. I said, wait a minute, this crack ain't putting this much ink. This crack ain't putting this much fucking ink, this much ink on some nigga. On the front page. I mean, beautiful. I said, I'm not damn it, not gonna claim this shit here. So, yeah, it was really beautiful and all. One guy said, I'm gonna go copy it. I got to get a color copy. This shit here is so fabulous. And, you know, I said, wait, there's something wrong here. And I said, let me put this thing together. So this nigga coming out with 1,000 books a month down there. Now, wait a minute, hold on now. You get the damn best-selling authors can't damn print a book, but every so often. The damn paperback, right? This nigga coming out with a damn, he coming out with 30, 40 books a month. Right. We ain't getting all this money. Hell, damn Nation of Islam and all made buku money, but still couldn't afford enough but to find a call. And boy, Wally got killed behind that shit. So they coming out, it's a whole game going down. So they come out with about 1,000 books a month. Just tons of stuff. And I ain't just talking about some of this paperback. They got big old hardback volumes, the Injil. And, facsimile Bible paper and shit with the gold trim around and shit. I'm like, wait a minute now. Then all of a sudden they said, when you get on there, you gotta go get shot, go get blood and get shots and shit, and get blood taken. I said, that sounds like some cloning shit to me. Okay, then the shit get funky. So then I looked, they got him on Strange Universe, they got him on 4 or 5 TV shows, they got him around the country. They speak, I said, wait a minute, hold on now. We had a whole Afrocentric movement, nobody knew what Ben and Clark was if it wasn't for Listerville Literature down in South Carolina, the South Carolina ETV that put on that series and stuff, and he ended up getting killed because of the goddamn shit. Nigga damn near 50 coming out with bone marrow cancer. Shit. You know what I'm saying? And no cancer, come on. And it seemed to me, none of them Negroes up there that's raising money say, ever thought, hey, let's send this nigga to Africa, to a Bible Island, let's send this nigga to South America, let's send him to damn Haiti, let's send this nigga to Miss Rudolph in Beaufort, Miss Tandy in Buffalo, Alabama. You don't see any place, you know.
No cure.
No. They raising money for the white doctors to cure this motherfucker that done did one of the best cable TV shows ever. But what I'm trying to say here is, we didn't have nothing or no scholars doing the whole Afrocentric movement at all. They didn't televise nothing. To this day, niggas don't know who John Henry Clark was. They flashed it. They had a MTV, they had a Essence Award. They flashed it. They had all these old, stars and all. They flashed John Henry Clark. People name up there. People like, who the hell is that? So nobody know who this is, but all of a sudden this man getting televised all over. But he talking about, we from the planet Ritz. Nigga born right here somewhere, New York somewhere and shit. We from the damn planet Ritz. I said, I see what's going on here now. They show you the science. That white boy is crafty. We from the planet Ritz. So the white boys was funding this shit. Giving them televised. Now, the key here is, they give him the televised. Remember now, outside of the conscious community, the majority of America never knew nothing nothing about no Afrocentric movement. They only saw African fashion, and they thought that, that's just the new shit. That's just the new fashion. We had that before in the 70s. Go get cotton combs to Harlem. Just wear that same shit. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, oh, that's just back around again. We was wearing them dashikis and stuff. This is a little better than that now. So, then the church got in on it. But other than that, they didn't go farther than the fashion. Nobody knew that there was a movement going on, an intelligentsia going on. Okay? So, they don't know nothing about Kemetic. Then all of a sudden now, the first thing they see Egypt, they see this damn nigga talking about he from the planet Ritz. And got all these people now, got all these people out here on the land, whole thing looking like the whole Jim Jones thing. You see. Okay, it's fabulous, they got the pyramids and all that type of thing. I don't take nothing from that and all this kind of thing here. You see what I'm saying? But the reason the government is stirring up fuss on this thing. You see what I'm saying? So the next thing we know, he's from the planet Ritz and all this, and they televising him. Now, then this is the key. Now you got other people saying, wait, this church shit just ain't cutting it. I just need to know about something greater. And then they look and they say, well, when you get into Egypt, they go, oh no, I ain't getting into Egypt. Them old crazy motherfuckers from the planet Ritz. You see the science on it?
Yeah.
See, because they didn't get the Kemetic